The arena lights flicker, the crowd roars, and the air is thick with anticipation. In one corner, a fighter known for his razor-sharp wit and lightning-fast strikes, the notorious Conor McGregor. In the other, a towering figure from the world of professional wrestling, a man whose sheer size and power have earned him the reputation of a living legend, Batista. Two worlds collide, but what happens when these two fierce warriors are put face to face in the ultimate showdown? The crowd can barely contain their excitement. One is a world-class mixed martial artist, the other a former WWE champion with a physique that could shatter steel. But here's the twist: neither has ever backed down from a challenge, and both are ready to prove that their brand of combat is the most dominant. Conor McGregor, known for his razor-sharp tongue and even sharper fists, has made waves in both the UFC and the global stage. From the rise to stardom to his iconic moments inside the octagon, he's built a legacy of pure ferocity and unapologetic confidence. He has dominated opponents with his unparalleled precision, and his brash attitude is almost as infamous as his striking power. Conor doesn't just fight to win, he fights to break his opponent's spirit, to make them crumble under the weight of his reputation. And when he steps into a ring, it's never just a match, it's an event. But what happens when that event takes him outside the confines of his usual battlefield? Enter Batista. A man whose name commands respect in both the squared circle and Hollywood. A six-time WWE champion and a powerhouse of brute force, he's known for his spine-crushing power moves and unyielding will to dominate. His success in the wrestling ring is legendary, but it's his transition to the silver screen that has put him in front of millions of new fans worldwide. The Animal, as he's known, is no stranger to high-pressure situations, whether it's delivering a brutal finishing move to a rival in the ring or battling intergalactic foes on the big screen. His strength, combined with his raw aggression, makes him an adversary unlike any McGregor has ever faced. But what happens when you take the art of wrestling where strength and theatrics reign and pit it against the tactical precision and high-speed combat of mixed martial arts? The fans know it's a collision course of epic proportions, but Conor and Batista have different things on their minds. McGregor knows the power Batista brings, but does he have the stamina to keep up with a man who can take hits most wouldn't even survive? And for Batista, will he be able to get past McGregor's quick strikes and unpredictable moves, or will he be left eating dust as Conor shows him that the world of MMA is a different beast entirely? The stage is set for an unforgettable showdown, but both men know this isn't just about who can throw the hardest punch or land the most devastating move. This is about legacy. This is about proving to the world that they are not only the best in their respective fields, but that they can dominate in an arena where rules and expectations are thrown out the window. As the tension builds, it's clear that the fight is more than just a clash of styles. McGregor's quickness versus Batista's raw power, agility against strength. This is a battle where every move counts, where every second could tip the scales in one fighter's favor. Conor's strategy has always been to break down his opponent mentally before he even lands a punch. But can he do that against a man who has been conditioned to withstand the most brutal punishment? And as the countdown to the fight begins, there's something else lurking in the air, something no one expected. A challenge that neither fighter has been prepared for. What if it's not just their own skills at play, but a factor outside of their control? Something or someone else might tip the balance, and they're about to find out that this fight could be more than they bargained for. The bell rings, and the first strike is thrown. Conor dances on his feet, eyes sharp as ever, while Batista roars forward with the power of a freight train. The world watches as these two legends clash in an arena that's about to feel their wrath. But just when it seems like the momentum shifts in one direction, something unexpected happens, a twist no one saw coming. The fight has just begun, but one question remains: who will survive when the cage door slams shut? Will it be the quick-thinking Conor McGregor, or the indomitable force of nature that is Batista? The answer is still unknown, but one thing is for sure: this is a battle no one will forget. Stay tuned, because this fight is far from over. The crowd's roars echo through the stadium, vibrating the very ground beneath their feet. Conor McGregor stands in his corner, his eyes locked on Batista, who seems almost unnervingly calm for a man known for his explosive temperament. McGregor, however, is no stranger to pressure. His mind races, calculating his every move, calculating what's coming next. Every twitch of Batista's muscle, every change in his stance, Conor is already 3 steps ahead in his mind. This is what he's known for, his ability to read his opponent, to control the pace of the fight with his mind before his fists even come into play. But for Batista, this is personal. The larger-than-life persona he's built in the WWE doesn't just stand on its own in this arena. It's about more than just the physical dominance he's known for. There's an undeniable pride behind every slam, every throw, and every grueling battle he's survived. He's fought beasts inside the ring, but Conor isn't like the others. There's an edge to McGregor that Batista isn't sure how to measure. His speed is one thing, but his unrelenting ability to push the boundaries of mind games and strategy might be another entirely. For the first time in a long while, Batista feels an unfamiliar tension. He knows he's in for more than just a typical brawl. Both men share something in common: a relentless drive to prove their worth. McGregor's rise from humble beginnings to the top of the MMA world wasn't just about training in the gym. It was about grit, determination, and an unshakable belief that he could be the best. Every fight, every battle was a statement. But it wasn't just for fame or glory, it was about challenging the world's expectations. McGregor had done things his way and reshaped the fight game, pushing the limits of what was possible, sometimes even at the cost of his own body. And yet, here, in the face of Batista's imposing figure, Conor knows he must do more than just show up with his usual bravado. This fight won't be won through words. It will be won with skill, wit, and heart. Batista, on the other hand, carries the weight of years spent in the brutal world of professional wrestling. A giant by most standards, he's walked into countless battles, but few have tested his mental resolve like this one. Wrestling may be scripted, but the pain is all too real, and the audience knows it. As an entertainer, he's used to performing for the cameras, to playing up the drama of every fight. But tonight is different. Tonight, he's no longer just a character on a screen, he's a man with something to prove. And there's something in McGregor's eyes that tells Batista he's stepping into a fight unlike any he's faced before. McGregor's speed and precision in the octagon are unlike anything he's ever seen in the squared circle, and this difference leaves him unsettled, yet hungry. His pride won't allow him to back down, but doubts creep in like an uninvited guest at the back of his mind. As the seconds tick by, the tension becomes palpable. Neither fighter has moved a muscle. The audience watches, holding its breath, waiting for something, anything to break the silence. The fight hasn't even begun, but already the stakes are high. What if this fight is not just about the fight itself? What if it's about something larger? Both McGregor and Batista know that the eyes of the world are upon them. It's not just their careers at stake, but their legacies. Behind the scenes, things are stirring. The fight isn't just being watched by fans, it's being scrutinized by those with a far different interest. Rumors swirl of a shadow organization, one with deep ties to both the MMA and WWE worlds, pulling strings behind the scenes. Conor McGregor, though aware of his own power and influence, has heard whispers of something darker lurking beyond the fight. There are forces out there with the means to influence everything: fights, careers, and even destinies. McGregor's suspicious mind knows that the pressure of this fight could be about more than just personal pride. But what could it be? Who would want to control this match, and why? Batista, ever the professional, senses something off as well. As a man who's worked in both the WWE and Hollywood, he's used to being surrounded by larger-than-life figures and strange deals. He's heard the same rumors, and he can't shake the feeling that this battle, for all its hype and adrenaline, might be part of something far more sinister. But like McGregor, Batista chooses to focus on the present. There's a fight to win, and right now, that's all that matters. Still, the nagging suspicion in his mind refuses to be silenced. Could there be forces at play that neither fighter understands? And if so, what role do they have in this clash of titans? As the bell rings, Conor McGregor's focus sharpens. His feet glide over the mat with a lightness that betrays his lethal intent. In a flash, he lunges forward, aiming for Batista's exposed side. But the giant's reflexes are lightning fast, and he swings back with a devastating haymaker that narrowly misses. The impact of his fists cutting through the air is enough to rattle the arena, and for a moment, it feels like time slows. McGregor's thoughts race. He's in it now, deep in the fight. But the longer this goes on, the more he feels something shifting, something not quite right. Is it the crowd's energy? The strange feeling of being watched by unseen eyes? Or is it something deeper, something he doesn't fully understand yet? Batista moves with force, but Conor's agility keeps him out of range, the distance between them growing ever more dangerous. McGregor's mind shifts gears. He's not just fighting a man, he's fighting an opponent who might have a far different agenda than what he appears. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he realizes that this fight could be the beginning of something far bigger than either of them could have imagined. As the tension builds, both men feel the weight of the unknown closing in. Who will outlast the other in this battle of strength and strategy? And what is waiting in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to make its move? The fight rages on, but the true battle may only just be beginning. The crowd is on the edge of their seats, their eyes locked on the action unfolding before them. Conor McGregor circles Batista, every move deliberate, his mind calculating, waiting for that perfect opportunity. His body is a well-oiled machine, every muscle coiled and ready to strike, but there's something in the air tonight, something that even McGregor, with all his experience, can't fully grasp. He's fought some of the best in the world, but this is different. The tension is thick, almost suffocating, and as he flicks a glance toward the crowd, he catches a brief, unexpected flicker in the shadows. It's gone in an instant, but it's enough to make him pause, just for a fraction of a second. Batista, sensing the shift, doesn't hesitate. He barrels forward, his massive frame moving with surprising speed. Conor barely evades the swing, but he's momentarily thrown off balance, his foot slipping as he shifts to the side. The world's most dangerous striker is now on the defensive, and Batista knows it. His eyes burn with the kind of focused intensity only a seasoned competitor can muster. He's got McGregor where he wants him, and for the first time tonight, the crowd can feel the shift in the energy. This isn't just a physical battle, it's becoming a psychological one, with both men trying to outthink and outmaneuver each other at every turn. But just as it looks like Batista might land a crushing blow, a strange sound cuts through the stadium, distant, yet unmistakable. The audience quiets for a moment, unsure of what they're hearing. It's a low hum, almost like a pulse, reverberating through the very foundation of the arena. McGregor's eyes snap to the rafters, and Batista stops mid-swing, his head tilting slightly, trying to understand what's happening. Then it comes, an explosion of bright light fills the arena, a flash so intense that it momentarily blinds everyone in sight. The ground shakes beneath them as the lights flicker wildly. A collective gasp rises from the crowd as a strange, metallic object descends from the rafters, hanging suspended above the ring. It's like nothing anyone has ever seen, sleek, dark, and entirely out of place. The object hovers for a moment, before a series of mechanical whirs fill the air, and an eerie calm settles over the chaos. McGregor's instincts kick in. He dives for cover, pulling Batista down with him as the object above them emits a strange, humming noise. The crowd is in complete shock, unsure whether they're witnessing a spectacle or something much more dangerous. The fight between McGregor and Batista has been interrupted, but neither man is ready to back down. In fact, the presence of this unknown force only seems to heighten the tension, shifting the stakes in ways they didn't anticipate. Batista stands up first, his eyes still scanning the object above. "What the hell is that?" he growls, his usual bravado shaken for the first time tonight. McGregor, however, is already thinking, already trying to piece the puzzle together. He knows something's off. This was no accident. This wasn't part of the plan, and someone or something has just turned this fight into a much bigger game than either of them signed up for. For a brief moment, everything is still, the strange object hanging ominously above them. And then, as if on cue, the arena lights go out completely, plunging everything into darkness. A murmur runs through the crowd, confusion and fear rippling through the audience. The silence is deafening, until, in the distance, a low voice echoes through the PA system. Conor McGregor. Batista. Your fight is not over. But the game has changed. The voice is distorted, robotic, and chilling. It sends a shiver down both men's spines. They exchange a quick glance, and it's clear this is no longer about just proving who's the better fighter. There's something far more dangerous at play, something neither of them can fully understand yet. The lights flicker back on, but what they reveal is even more disorienting. The arena is no longer the same. The walls, once familiar, now seem like they've been transformed. Strange, glowing symbols have appeared across the floor, as if the very foundation of the arena has been altered. The crowd's reaction is a mix of awe and fear, as people begin to realize this is not some elaborate stunt or unexpected part of the show. Something far beyond their comprehension has taken control. The fight they were watching isn't the only thing that has just changed. The entire reality they're living in is shifting. McGregor takes a step back, his usual confidence faltering for the first time in years. This isn't right, he mutters to himself. But it's too late. The moment of hesitation is all it takes for something else to emerge. From the shadows, a figure steps forward, tall and cloaked in black. Its presence alone is enough to make the crowd hold their breath. The figure doesn't speak, but there's an unmistakable aura of authority that pulses from it, as if it holds the keys to everything unfolding. Batista takes a step forward, his stance defensive, but there's something else in his eyes, something more than just the desire to fight. It's a deep, primal fear, one that even he can't ignore. He's fought titans in the ring, but nothing has ever made him feel like this. This, whatever it is a force outside his control. The figure raises one hand, and with a sudden, sharp movement, the arena is plunged back into darkness. The crowd's screams echo through the void, but they're cut short as an eerie hum fills the air again. Seconds later, the lights come back on, and this time, McGregor and Batista are no longer alone. Standing between them, with eyes glowing a strange, unnatural blue, is the figure. Its face remains hidden, but its presence is undeniable. It's not just a person, not just a fighter, it's something entirely different, something neither man can fathom. Your fight, the figure's voice booms, has only just begun. But first, you will answer to me. McGregor's heart pounds in his chest. This isn't a fight he's prepared for, and from the look in Batista's eyes, neither is he. And now, as both men face the unknown, they realize they're caught in a much larger game, one that no amount of strength or strategy can overcome on their own. The real battle is just beginning, and the stakes are higher than either could ever have imagined. The arena is still, but the air is electric with tension, as if the very atmosphere is waiting for something to break. Conor McGregor and Batista stand frozen, facing the mysterious figure that now stands between them. The figure's eyes glow a piercing blue, and its presence is almost otherworldly, unnatural. The audience watches in stunned silence, unsure of whether this is some elaborate ruse or something far darker. But one thing is clear, this is no mere spectacle. It's real. This unknown force holds the power to change everything, and the fate of the two combatants rests in its hands. McGregor's heart races. He's no stranger to the unexpected, but this feels like something beyond the realm of anything he's ever faced. His instincts scream at him to strike, to act before this strange figure has a chance to do whatever it is it plans. But there's a hesitation in his mind, a creeping sense of dread that's never been a part of his psyche before. And in that moment of stillness, the figure speaks again, its voice low and commanding, yet tinged with an eerie calm. Conor McGregor. Batista. You are both warriors. But you are not the only pieces in this game. There are others, waiting. You must fight not just for victory, but for survival. The words hang heavy in the air, and McGregor can feel the weight of their meaning. Survival? What does that even mean? He's faced opponents who wanted to break him physically, but this is something entirely different. Batista, too, seems shaken, though he's trying to mask it behind his usual bravado. But his hands twitch at his sides, and his gaze flickers from McGregor to the cloaked figure. He knows, just as McGregor does, that this fight is no longer just a matter of skill or strength, it's something far greater. Without warning, the figure extends its arm, and the arena shudders. The ground beneath their feet begins to pulse, sending waves of energy that rattle the walls and floor. Conor's senses are overloaded. The pressure is intense, and it feels like the very fabric of reality is bending. The fight between him and Batista, the battle they've both been preparing for, is now just a prelude. The true challenge lies in surviving whatever this entity has planned. Batista moves first. His instincts are pure, honed through years of wrestling. With a growl, he charges at the figure, his massive form a blur of power and fury. But as soon as he makes contact, the figure shifts. Its movements are fluid, almost unnatural, like it's made of something other than flesh and bone. With a single motion, the figure slams Batista to the ground, sending shockwaves through the arena. The impact is deafening, and for a moment, it seems like Batista might be out of the fight entirely. Conor's heart skips a beat, but his mind races. He can't afford to hesitate. He can't afford to watch another man fall. McGregor's eyes flicker to Batista's fallen form, then to the figure looming above them both. It's now or never. The fight for survival has begun. With a burst of speed, McGregor charges at the figure, unleashing a flurry of punches. Each strike lands with precision, but it's as if the figure is made of stone, immovable, unyielding. McGregor's fists barely make an impact, and the force of each failed strike reverberates back through his body, leaving him winded. He's up against something beyond human, something that he can't simply overpower with brute force. The figure raises a hand, and suddenly, the arena is plunged into an abyss of blackness. There is no light, no sound, only an oppressive, suffocating silence. McGregor's breath is shallow as he fights to make sense of what's happening. Then, out of the dark, the figure speaks once more, its voice echoing in the void. "You cannot defeat me alone. But together, perhaps, you stand a chance." It's then that McGregor realizes the game has changed, and the only way to survive is to join forces with the very man he'd been prepared to fight. The realization hits him like a thunderclap, but there's no time to waste. If they don't work together, they won't make it out alive. McGregor turns toward Batista, who is slowly rising to his feet, his body battered but his resolve unbroken. For a brief moment, they exchange a look, not one of rivalry, but of understanding. This fight isn't about who's stronger or faster. It's about facing something far greater than either of them. They both know what's at stake. Without a word, they spring into action. McGregor moves with the speed and precision that has made him a legend, while Batista uses his raw power and relentless aggression to keep the figure on its toes. The two men work in perfect synchronization, a strange partnership formed out of necessity. Every punch, every move, is executed with the goal of surviving this nightmare. And little by little, the figure begins to falter, its once immovable presence now showing cracks. The final blow comes when McGregor lands a perfectly timed strike to the figure's core, while Batista delivers a crushing power move that sends a shockwave through the arena. The figure stumbles, its glowing eyes flickering before going completely dark. For a moment, everything is still. And then, just like that, the figure collapses, disintegrating into a cloud of smoke and light, leaving nothing but silence in its wake. The arena is quiet, the chaos that had consumed it now replaced with an eerie calm. McGregor and Batista stand in the center of the ring, breathing heavily, their bodies bruised and battered, but victorious. They've survived. But as they catch their breath, a sudden realization dawns on both men. The fight may be over, but the battle is far from won. The world they knew, the world they fought for, isn't the same anymore. There are forces out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the next challenge. And they, too, will be ready. As the lights flicker one last time, McGregor and Batista exchange a glance, a silent promise passing between them. This may have been just one battle, but it won't be the last. And whatever comes next, they'll face it together.